This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Well, the Dominion $1.6 billion defamation case against Fox News continues to pay dividends. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Off of the summary judgment with all of the emails and text messages attached to it that was filed just last week, all the legal commentators are just reading it over and over again, finding things that make sense and trying to fit them into the universe of other reporting and other, for lack of a better term, timelines of events on January 6th that now are coming into critical focus because of what Dominion Voting Machines has found in what we refer to as the Fox Files. Let me specifically focus your attention on a fact that has now come out that on Jan 6th, at or around 5 p.m., when Lou Dobbs, the now disgraced on-air celebrity for Fox News, with his nightly show from 5 to 7 o'clock at night on Fox News, which was a common place for Donald Trump to find a friendly face, Lou Dobbs being as virulent fascist as Donald Trump was. Trump would often phone in, and apparently on Jan 6th, at or around 5 o'clock, when, the Capitol was still under siege, the Capitol Police and National Guard had not yet cleared it, and the vote to certify the election had not yet been able to happen, Donald Trump's thought was, I'll call into Lou Dobbs and do an interview as President of the United States about Jan 6th. Well, based on the tweets he had done, Donald Trump, throughout the day and his complete dereliction of duty of sitting with his thumb up his backside for almost 3 hours in the White House Oval Office dining room, watching the carnage and just blurting out, these people love me and Mike Pence is a P word. In between all of that, or after all that, he decided that as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, as the supreme leader of the United States, as the most powerful man in the world, that he should not do an Oval Office address to the nation, not do standing at the podium at the White House, but he should go on a friendly network like Fox News and do a shoot from the hip, seat of his pants, freewheeling, Lord knows what's going to come out of his mouth next interview with Lou Dobbs. Even Fox News, I have to stop calling them Fox News, even Fox and its senior executives thought that that was a bridge too far, and they were not going to allow Trump to use them as a platform, finally, to do whatever he was going to do, because based on his tweets leading into that moment, he wasn't going to quell the violence. He wasn't going to tell people to go home. He was just going to continue to fuel and fan the flames that led to this violent attempted overthrow of the Capitol and the siege that was laid. And so senior executives at Fox itself took one look at this phone call, because I guess they screened the phone calls, or the White House contacted them. And the head of the president of Fox News, Lauren Peterson, said, no, I think we'll pass on the exclusive of Donald Trump at 5 o'clock after all the carnage and the dead police officers and other victims and the flames surrounding the Capitol. We'll pass on that coup of no pun intended, of getting ratings for this. First time it looks like Fox ever grew a conscience when it came to Donald Trump. Now, let me set this. Now, that's a fact. That's come out from emails and text messages that set a new mini timeline that even the Jan 6 committee in its year of work, hard work, wasn't able to identify that had happened, because that is nowhere in the Jan 6 reporting. Let me fit that 5-ish o'clock phone call from Donald Trump into the larger picture of the timeline that was established by the Jan 6 committee that we shouldn't lose sight of. Let me just do it quickly from the beginning of the morning of Jan 6th all the way through this phone call and beyond. 7:30 a.m. the morning of Jan 6th, Jim Jordan texts Meadows and tells him that Pence should be prepared to overthrow the election. Yes, Jim Jordan, the chairman current of the House Judiciary Committee, empowered by McCarthy to go after Democrats and the Department of Justice. That was his text message to kick off, morning coffee the morning of Jan 6. 9:24, Trump calls Jordan himself, continuing to promote the efforts to pressure Pence to overthrow the will of the people. 9:55-ish in the morning, Secret Service tells Donald Trump that the rally on the ellipse has a lot of people there with weapons, guns, bow and arrows, knives, machetes. 10:15 a.m., Secret Service tells Meadows about the weapons, and apparently he has little or no reaction. We know Trump's initial reaction was, well, they like me, they're not after me, bring them in. 10:47 a.m., Giuliani and Eastman give a speech on the ellipse calling for the overthrow of the election. We then move to 11:20 a.m. Trump continues to pressure Pence, calling him a wimp because he refuses to certify the election. About 11:50-ish, or just before noon, Trump tells his staff, knowing that the crowd is armed, that they need to drop the magnetometers that are protecting him and others at the ellipse. 12 p.m., Trump speaks at the ellipse on Jan 6 and attacks Mike Pence publicly once again. 1 p.m., over at the Capitol, Proud Boys break the first line of defense and enter the Capitol. Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, Joe Biggs, and everybody else on trial at present in Washington, D.C., prosecuted by the Department of Justice. 1:10, 10 minutes later, Trump tells his supporters that during his speech at the ellipse, points to the Capitol and tells them to go there, and he'll be there with him shortly. 1:19, 9 minutes later, Trump goes back to the White House instead, but then decides he wants to go to the Capitol, and staff around him refuse to let him go, pissing him off. From 1:25, so now we're about 25 minutes after the ellipse speech that he gave, until 4 p.m., almost 3 full hours. This is the 3 full hours, 78 minutes or so of dereliction of duty that's in the Jan 6 report. Trump sat in the private dining room of his, watching on television what you and I saw, and did nothing about it. 1:25 to 4 p.m. Remember, Lou Dobbs' show starts at 5. Picking up in the timeline, 2 o'clock, Pat Cipollone, general counsel for Donald Trump, tells Meadows, chief of staff, tell Trump to stop the riot, do what he needs to do. That's rejected. He says it again at 2:15. That's rejected. 2:24, Trump slams Pence once again in a tweet. So the first time that Donald Trump puts his hands on his Twitter machine, right, on his cell phone to make a tweet while the violence is going on and raging all around the Capitol and legislators are running for their lives, he tweets and slams Mike Pence. Doesn't say a thing about the riot, doesn't tell them to go home, he just pours more accelerant on the flames. 2:26, 2 minutes later, Pence is evacuated by Secret Service for his own security. 2:28, Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, even she thinks there's a problem. She tells Meadows to tell Trump to calm the people. That's rejected. He's sitting in the dining room, right? All this time, 78 minutes. 2:38, 10 minutes later, Trump tweets. Oh, he's ready. He's going to tweet. Here we go. A moment of leadership. What does he tweet? Just stay peaceful. Doesn't tell them to leave, doesn't tell them to get out of the Capitol, doesn't tell them to lay down their arms. He just tells them to stay peaceful, whatever that means. Like it's some sort of commercial for, a Dos Equis, stay thirsty or whatever. Weird, but also seditious and traitorous. 2:40, 2 minutes later, the Oath Keepers, already convicted in 2 separate trials, enter the Capitol in military formation up the Capitol steps. Now we've got the appearance of the Oath Keepers 2 minutes after Trump tweeted, stay peaceful. 2:44, Ashley Babbitt is shot as she tries to make her way down the speaker's hallway to get to the Senate chamber. 2:45, rioters enter the Senate floor and Nancy Pelosi's office. 2:53, Don Jr. wakes up out of his stupor to tell Meadows that Dad has to condemn this, and right now. That's 2:53. The Lou Dobbs show, Fox News, doesn't start till 5. 3 p.m., Trump and Meadows, Trump Jr. tells Meadows, you got to call off the mob. Trump refuses. 3:13, Trump picks up his Twitter machine again and tweets, stay peaceful. Again, by this time, Ashley Babbitt shot, Capitol Police dead or injured, Oath Keepers break into the Capitol. The Proud Boys already broke through the Capitol. Carnage, blood everywhere on Capitol Police, on the Capitol steps, and the Capitol Police are overrun. And we get a tweet from our commander-in-chief, our moral leader of the universe, at 3:13, stay peaceful. 3:15, Ivanka wakes up out of her stupor and calls calls Meadows to tell Dad Trump to do something, right? And she tweets out, stay peaceful, and calls these people that are attacking the Capitol, these insurrectionists, she calls them patriots. Hannity at 3:31 at Fox News calls into Meadows, texts into Meadows, and says, you got to tell Trump to tell them to leave, tell the rioters to leave. That's rejected by Donald Trump. 4:05 p.m. We're now less than an hour until the Lou Dobbs show. Don Jr. realizes this is a disaster for his father and I guess for the country, but mainly for his father and for their financial empire. He tells Meadows, quote, we need an Oval address right now. In other words, we need a speech from the Oval Office from my dad right now. He's got to lead now. That doesn't happen. 4:17, Trump finally releases a video that he made telling them to go home. This is 3 hours after the breach, after he has been given intel for the last 3 hours, after he sat for almost 3 hours in the dining room doing nothing. This is what he does. He releases a video, the coward that he is. And now from 4:17, we've got the call in at 5 p.m. to the Lou Dobbs show, and Fox News executives finally saying, I don't think you're going to use our show that way. Lord knows what you're going to say. This is my paraphrase. On the air with Lou Dobbs in the middle of what we are seeing with our own eyes and all of this footage on Jan 6th. And what we then have since he can't get access to Fox News and he doesn't do an Oval Office address, Trump starts tweeting again. And this is what he says. More accelerant on the flames, on the fire. He tweets, this is what happens when a sacred landslide election victory, his own, is viciously ripped away from people. That's what he says. That's the justification for all this. And then what does Grandpa Trump do at 6:27, 26 minutes later? Night. Literally, it's the end of his day, and he retires to the White House bedroom and sleeping quarters for the evening. That is the president of the United States at the time, Donald Trump. And that is the interaction and the timeline, putting it into proper context with the attempted phone call at 5 o'clock into the Lou Dobbs show that the Jan 6 committee didn't know about, but you now know about it from this reporting. This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. If you like what we're doing here, I do legal hot takes about once a day, just like this. And on Wednesdays and Saturdays, I co-anchor a leading political and legal podcast on the MeidasTouch network called Legal AF. And you can get it on YouTube, and you can get it everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you like what I'm doing, you can follow me at MS Popak, Michael Popak reporting.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.